Abusua so Paul Adon Orchard erezi concern bia enye concern kotoa or wo arrest na IGP Juma odi ho. Abusua o se chese wo Ghana ha na northern okon north chese ntokwa esu ama Ghana fo ni bukada ne refugees omunya baabi entena omuhia chese national security ankasa Ghana police force betu abo omo or say there be yet the national security and the Ghana police ankasa your resources nyina ekodi baba kope won akwa peno achen because wama force and ansem o kan no say when you sort IGP tete you eh asem na Ghana kakwe na abusia say Paul Adon Orchard consensus o yi pie ba utim say mo du so a pese ekwo.
Oliver Vomaho, one of the human rights activists, put on his Facebook page that he doesn't even understand why they are doing that. There's so much conflict. Check social media. There's conflict in the north. Police are needed everywhere. And the police machinery is used to arrest and have Abronye in cells to teach him a lesson that he said that he alleged that the IGP was corrupt. The Inspector General of Police. So if a person is Inspector General of Police and something is said about him, he should use the police machinery because he has authority to arrest those people. Whilst the Parliament of 2001, when they were repealing the criminal libel law, I was looking for it today. It just took a bit long. Thursday, I'll bring it. I'll bring the memorandum that went to Parliament. The philosophy behind why Parliament voted en bloc unanimously. The whole Parliament, NDC, MPP, voted unanimously that this issue of criminalizing speech is something that should be banished to our history. Now, 2025, 24 years after 2001, 24 years after 2001, we are back at the same place, dealing and battling with criminal libel under a different guise of causing fear and panic. There's some regulation like that. I remember that the people at, what are they called? Where Manasseh used to work, Suleiman Brame's people, Kwame Kaikai, Fourth Estate and Media Foundation, them, West Africa, they were saying that also has to be repealed because governments can apply. The other day, Kandapa arrested some journalists. You remember that? He arrested them. They had published something and something about presidential jet. And he arrested them. There was a lot of hue and outcry from everywhere. And in that conversation, they said that this should be. Abronye DC sits in his place as regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Sits in his place at Sunyani. He's opened a podcast. He attacks MPP people, NDC people. On occasion, I have had occasion to call him to talk about the Duncan Williams situation, and he had explained, and we spoke about it, and the matter died. If he says something, the libel courts are there, especially given what everyone is really quiet about on social media, but we have all seen it. We have seen people who have said worse things, who have been given national security protection in this country. They have said worse things about people, not just about IGP, but about chiefs, about pastors, about everyone. And they have been given national security protection. And then we have Abronye say something about IGP. And then they arrest him and they keep him there till Friday, 12 September. That's when he's going to reappear in court. And it's a complaint by whom? I'm not even sure. Maybe his lawyers will come in, they'll come and tell us. A complaint by whom? Is it a complaint by the Honorable COP, Christian Tatayoonu, the Inspector General of Police? Is he the complainant in the matter? Is another person the complainant in the matter? What is the foundation of the complaint? That Abronye had said something against him, something he has said, and it's criminal? I don't get it. Let's go to the touch screen and see what the minority in Parliament wrote about this matter. It's a very difficult and concerning matter, given that most of the youth are, because everyone wants their party to win election. Yes, that's correct. If I'm MPP, I want MPP to win election. If somebody's NDC, they want NDC to win election. There's no problem about that. But we don't want a society that is funny. We don't want a society. That's why when you go on social media, whether NDC or MPP, you find everybody says, what's this Abronye arrest about? What is it? What is it about? The other day here in Metro TV, during the election, during our program Good Morning Ghana, some guy who was an auctioneer came with police. It was mistaken to be a police action on the program. You remember the outrage from both MPP and NDC. We don't want these things in Ghana because we have long gone past it. We have been told by our forebears that they have fought the battle and removed the criminal libel law Kweku Bawku and others. They removed the criminal libel law in Parliament in 2001. 24 years later, we have to be having this conversation in Ghana, Africa's finest democracy, Africa's best democracy. For 35 years, we have had uninterrupted changing elections. From in 2000, Ghana was celebrated as the African country since the end of the Second World War that has been able to change government peacefully. Ghana was celebrated 25 years ago that we are the country that has been able to change peacefully. Since then, we have done it in 2008, we have done it in 2016, we have done it in 2024. And in 2025, we have to be thinking about whether there's criminal libel or not. People have to be concerned about what they say. 9 September 2025, for immediate release. Statements by the Minority Caucus on remand of Kwame Bafo, Abronye DC, and the growing culture of political persecution and abuse of power. The Minority Caucus expresses grave concern over the arrest and remand of Kwame Bafo Abronye, popularly known as Abronye DC, the Bono regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Mr. Bafo was arraigned before the Accra Circuit Court today and remanded into police custody until Friday, 12 September 2025, on 2 charges of alleged offensive conduct conducive to a breach of the peace. The circumstances surrounding Abronye DC's arrest and detention reveal a disturbing pattern. The government is increasingly weaponizing the judicial system against perceived opponents. This vague and overly broad application of the law falls far short of international standards of legal specificity. Even more troubling, his arrest follows attempts to seek political asylum in 8 countries, citing persecution and threats to his life. The denial of bail and his remand clearly suggests punishment, not justice. This case is not isolated. We see a deliberate and systematic campaign to suppress dissent. Journalists, social commentators, and opposition figures harassed through arbitrary arrest and detention. State security deployed to intimidate citizens who expose corruption or question government narratives. A climate of fear where ordinary people hesitate to exercise their constitutional right to free expression. Such orchestrated persecution is a betrayal of the democratic principles upon which Ghana was founded. The Minority Caucus stands in solidarity with all voices of dissent and affirms their right to hold government accountable without fear of persecution. Meanwhile, government's neglect of urgent national crisis is glaring. In the northern region of Ghana, communal violence has claimed at least 31 lives and displaced nearly 50,000 people, with more than 13,000 forced to seek refuge in Côte d'Ivoire. This is not just a local tragedy, it is a regional humanitarian emergency that shames our nation. That citizens must cross international borders to find safety is an indictment of a government that has abandoned its basic duty to protect its people. Our northern compatriots deserve urgent attention, not the neglect and indifference that have characterized the state's response so far. Political witch hunts cannot be used as smokescreen to deflect attention from this humanitarian disaster. We also draw attention to an alarming escalation of threats against political leaders, including the minority leader, Honorable Osahene Alexander Afenyo Markin, our Chief Whip, Honorable Frank Anodompre, and our national organizer, Mr. Henry Nana Boakye Nanabi. Reports of assassination plot issued openly by NDC executives and their associates while authorities look away signal a dangerous deterioration of democratic tolerance. This climate of intimidation is not a partisan issue. It is an assault on democracy itself. Such threats violate international democratic norms and cannot be dismissed as mere local politics. They demand immediate, serious investigation. The Ghana Police Service must rise above partisanship, abandon its current posture as a tool of the ruling party, and guarantee protection for all political actors regardless of affiliation. The Minority Caucus reiterates that this government has abandoned its constitutional obligation, choosing instead the path of authoritarian consolidation, judicial persecution, executive overreach, economic manipulation, and security failures have converged into a perfect storm that endangers both democracy and development in Ghana. We remain resolute in our commitment to uphold the rule of law, protect human rights, and restore public trust in our democratic institutions. Ghana's democracy is too precious to be surrendered to fear, intimidation, and authoritarian excesses. It's signed by Jerry Shaibu Ahmed. He's the second deputy minority whip. He's also the MP for Weja Bawe constituency. Now, this is the video that they refer to, where a young man who obviously belongs to the NDC, I believe it was during the Okeyere by-election, goes out there and threatens names of people, boldly speaking to media. He's not worried that if you carry out such threats publicly, you may be apprehended by the police and you may be asked not to go within a certain distance of the people that you are threatening, etc., etc. All of those laws which are alive in other democracies are not here, or he believes that nothing will happen to him based on the color of his party. I'm not sure why. I'm not so sure why. But here he is.
I'm not on prayer. Nana B. Umudiagra, wallahi, umbewu. Me don't yakupon. Me kabe paposha from. After marking, I'm not on prayer. Nana B. Omuni show mobile as we I'm not on prayer. Nana B. Umudiagra, wallahi, umbewu. Me don't yakupon. Me kabe paposha from. After marking, I'm not on prayer. Nana B. Omuni show mobile as we.
Did you hear that? It may be empty threats. But what kind of environment in a democracy allows an individual speaking to journalists in the open, in the plain, to say that these persons, if they joke, they will die, and it's okay? Nobody asking me any question. A certain environment should be created in the future, in the near future, where when we go out for political events, people are not able to threaten people that way. I don't even remember that happening recently. We had a brutal feisty election in 2024. We had a brutal election in 2016. We had a brutal election in 2020 during COVID. I don't remember these things happening. I don't remember them happening. That people can go onto the mic, say, Lord, call me. Go onto the mic and say that Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa, Sam George, they will die. If they do, there will be by-election in Pram Pram. They will see. I don't remember that. What are we doing? This is not NDC or MPP. This is about the democracy that has been bequeathed to us. Bequeathed to us because a lot of us were born recently, so we didn't have even voting rights at the time the people who fought for the 1992 Constitution were fighting for it. So if we started having voting rights from 2000 election or 2004, that democracy has been bequeathed to us. But the actors are still around and books have been written. We have read it. And we know what has happened in Parliament. And we were to assume that criminal libel is gone. You can say what you want to say, especially in the circumstance where nobody wants to say it. Because we have been in this country and people who have said worse things have come into the country and have obtained national security protection. As a result of the things they themselves knew that they have said, they have organized national security protection for people who have said worse things. But Abronye DC, because of his political color, because he touched on somebody who is in power's nerve or something, the Inspector General of Police is very concerned that Abronye DC says that, alleges that he's corrupt. Shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Now I hear there's a demonstration coming up and they call it this one. It's coming up. I understand that tomorrow they are holding a press conference and they are going to pour themselves out onto the street. Because you see, if you look at election results, the candidates of the both parties, they both got more than 1 million votes. Both candidates can throw up 200,000 people on the street, and that would be chaotic in Accra. They can throw 200,000 people on the street. Because when people are frustrated in this manner, they have nothing to do but to go on the street. So they say, Chiyen Preku, catch, arrest all of us once and for all. They say it's coming soon. Apparently, they are writing to the police for permission to demonstrate because they are tired. Fancy comedy. Then he says he's arrested. Then somebody there is arrested. Abronye is arrested. Why? Is that the democracy? When power changes hands, we should go deeper into some of these ugly things so that we don't push our democracy forward. Every epoch should see an advancement of the democracy. 1992 to 1996 saw an advancement of it. 96 to 2000 saw a further advancement in it. 2000, 2004, we moved further. Up to 2008, we moved further. We are now beginning to take our elections for granted. Those days, Kwesi Pratt used to be concerned about the peace industry. In 2012, he was worried that anytime you're having elections, you have people say peace, oh, peace, oh. We are now getting, except some of the ugly events of the post-2024 voting, we are really getting to the point where we can take the election for granted. We'll vote and sleep and wake up and somebody will win and we move on. That's where we are getting to. And now these things, oh, I don't think it's great.